Waylon. So we're going to talk about some kid safety. Are you going to be able to see over here? Oh, this doesn't have a flash. Okay, so first, if the kids are trying to reach over into her spot, don't let them. That should be the first thing, right? Any visitors, hey, you guys don't go mess with the dogs over in their bedrooms, right? Now Roxy's behind the other one. Um, I'm not opposed to, since your other one is the golden retriever in the front. Golden retrievers love stuff, right? They don't care. One of the best family dogs that there is. Roxy, on the other hand, it's a different story, right? So, anyways, no hugging, right? Um, right. So some dogs will tolerate hugs. Um, Again, the golden retriever is probably going to tolerate, might even love it, right? But Roxy is not. So here's the other thing. Let me see if I can get. So now that he's over here, so if the kids are, we also know that she gets overstimulated, right? So if the kids, where's my little seat? If the kids are excited, he's back row. The kids are excited, she's going to be excited. So uh, I would have her separated while the kids are excited, running around, yelling and screaming, doing kid stuff, right? Or I would have her on a leash with me and just have the kids play by themselves and leave the dog alone, right? So let's see if we can do this. Here we go, right about there. Waylon, come here, bud. Good boy. So, right, so this typically for dogs is a threatening thing, right? So a kid going like this to pet the dog is a kind of threatening thing. Now you can counter condition that, and it's going to take a lot, but you take and you hold your food and you go like this and give them the food after you take the hand away. Hold the food, give her the pet, and you do it with adults first. And so you would do a ton of those before you start doing it with the kids, right? So that's counter conditioning the uh, threatening aspect of going head on. Hey, come here. Ideally, the kid. So here's another thing. We, like as humans, we always kind of stick the hand out, right? So if they stick the hand out like this, here, sit down, sit. Hey, you can lay down too. Let's see if you can see this, right? So so instead of going to the head, right, you come in like this, right, and then let the dog come to you, right? 80-20. Like you go 80, let the dog come forward, right? Did you see that? You put it down, the dog comes forward to it. If the dog doesn't come forward to it, then the kid needs to leave it alone, right? And then here's the other one. Like instead of going like this, they can go like this, to the side or back. Now, I'm not sure that Roxy wouldn't, if they did try to do this, right? So the kid's naturally going to go like this. You want your hand to be underhanded, and you can give scratches like that. It doesn't have to be the head. The head is, it's a threatening kind of posture, right? Going on the head. So, plus, to dogs, kids tend to be weird, right? Hey, big guy. Man, I had a bunch of stuff thought out. And now that this is on, I can't say it. He's my guys. He's my guy. This guy's a love ball, so, obviously it's not the same as what you're dealing with. Oh, oh, that's the spot. That's your spot right back there by the tail. Oh, yeah. And don't get in the face, right? Let's see. So try not to go over the head. Make sure they don't go over the head. Do the 80-20 where they put the hand like this. If the dog doesn't come up, then they just walk away. No big deal. Leave the dog alone. Um, Go for the side, like instead of this, go for this. And again, make sure hands are like this, right? And even sticking your hand in their face like that, even underhand, is still kind of threatening and space, kind of being a space invader. But if you can get the kids to do that, it's less threatening than this, right? So this is less threatening than this. This is still can be seen as being threatening. So ideally, they just walk around, and if the dog walks up, then they can pet, right? Leave the dog alone in a safe space. And what they can, and make sure everybody knows what they can do with the retriever, they can't do with Roxy. It's a way different dog, right? The golden retriever is going to take all kinds of junk, right? Which is probably why you got the golden retriever in the first place, because they're very good family dogs. They're very tolerant of stuff that we do to them. And some dogs are not tolerant. Roxy is not a very tolerant dog. Come here, buddy. All right, good boy. What else? So the high arousal times, I would have her on the leash with you. If that's too annoying to you, then I would have her put up. If she's in there yelling and screaming, because I think she does that, right? She barks to want to be out with everybody. I mean, this could, even having her on a leash could cause frustration, and being put away could cause frustration. But a big part of it is you guys' sanity too, right? So if you're like, oh my God, I got to be so worried about her, then just put her up. And then when all the energy of the kids dies down, then bring her out, because she doesn't deal with that really well, right? And here's the other thing with being on the leash. Say the kid does everything right, right? Say the kid goes like this and she still goes to nip on it. You can go no and correct her, right? Now, there's going to be people out there that call themselves scientists that will say that the dog will take that correction and apply it to that kid. That's BS. The dog understands the behavior creates a consequence, not what you're looking at causes a consequence. Just like when we get the dog to do something and we give it a reward, it's a reward is a consequence. It's just a positive consequence, right? So say the dog sits and we give it food, that's a consequence for doing what we want, right? So the negative consequence is, and they put together that reward goes to the behavior that they did. So why wouldn't they do the same with a correction? When dogs correct each other, right? Now you're not going to beat the crap out of her. Say you don't have a leash on her, then you can just do the old school scruffing. No, and you have to have a firm tone too. That way you can get off of the physical. But it has to be enough, but not over the top, right? Um, so kids, try not to do this. Try to do this. Do the 80-20. Put your hand to here. If the dog doesn't come forward, just ignore the dog. So a lot of the stuff with dogs nipping on kids is because we have to teach the kids, right? So we have to teach the kids how to act respectfully and understand that the dogs are different, which is hard, right? It's hard to teach kids that stuff. And then we have to teach the dog that if the kid is being a space invader, to not use your mouth. And the only way to do that is to punish or correct it, right? You can do the counter conditioning stuff, and that's going to take forever, and that's never really going to make the mouthing go away. It's going to make it less likely for them to mouth, and if they do mouth, it should be less by doing those counter conditioning exercises, but it takes a long time. It takes reps, and you have to start it with you guys, get a good understanding of what's supposed to do, right? And you can do the same thing, right? You can feed and go for the pet. Feed, go for the pet. Well, you don't let go of the food until afterwards. Hold the food, pet, let go of the food. And then if she tries to get your hand, which she probably won't do, then you can correct it, right? What else? Man, I think I had other stuff to say, but I'm not saying it. Leave the dog alone in the safe place. Make sure the energy is down before she comes out. The energy of the kids is down before she comes out. Oh, make sure she's exercised. Some people say you don't need to exercise first. Just exercise it first, right? uh, like if the kids are napping or watching TV and you know that they're fixing to go play, go get her exercise first and then have her on a leash or put up, right? So being put up doesn't really do anything for the situation except for it prevents it, right? So if you guys are like, well, I got to watch the kids too much, I don't want to have to watch her, then just put her up. The dog doesn't have to be a part of every single thing you do in the world. A lot of times that's where the overstimulation comes from, is we're doing too much with the dogs and they don't learn to settle down. um, and again, remember, the dogs are different, right? You're going to be able you're going to be able to do stuff with the retriever that you're not going to be able to do with Roxy. Um, I think that's it. Yeah, so you have counter condition, prevent and manage, and correct, right? So counter conditioning is trying to change the mentality of it, and you're doing it in a safe thing, right? Then you start using your own kids because she's more comfortable with them. Then you can possibly do it with visiting kids. And then prevention and management is putting her up when you don't feel like doing it. Or if you notice she's getting super excited, go put her up, let her calm down, and then bring her back out. Because it's hard. All the energy is hard. Managing the energy is hard. Um, I think that's it. It's hard to do stuff like this because you're not in the situation. All right, that's good enough, right? It's probably too long. That's only 12 minutes. That's not too awfully long.